Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is the Grim Reaper, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is actually going to be a continuation of my game collection, which is actually the last video that we did, part 1. In this video, we're going to be doing part 2. Last time we did my Nintendo Switch game collection. This time we're going to be doing my PlayStation 2 game collection. Now, unlike last time where I only had like 20 something games in my Nintendo Switch game collection, there is going to be a lot more PlayStation 2 games. So I'm just warning you right now, this is probably going to be a really long video. So definitely grab some popcorn, any nearby snacks, any drinks, soda, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, whatever. Because this is going to be a extremely long video. I'm going to try not to make it too long, but I have honestly got so many games here that it's probably going to be hard not to do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and skip all the dialogue and just get straight into this. The first few games that I have here are all going to be games that I do not have actual game cases for. They're actually little like disc trays, ashtrays, whatever you want to call them. And then some of these I actually got from GameStop. Back in the day when PlayStation 2 games were actually at GameStop. Anyone remember those days? Yeah, because I do. That was a really good time. But yeah, the first game we have here, Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules. Now, I have not played this game in a very long time. I actually haven't even followed up with Fairly Odd Parents in a few years, actually. But I do remember I played this game quite a bit, and I beat it almost, I want to say over a decade ago. I don't remember too much. I remember some of the levels, but I also know, I don't know if it was like a prequel or a sequel to this game, but there's another Fairly Odd Parents game for the PS2 that a friend of mine played, and I saw him play it at his house, that I never played myself, nor do I own a copy of it. It's Fairly Odd Parents Shadow Showdown. I'll have to get my hands on that at some point, but yeah, this game I have played, and obviously I do want a copy of it, and I beat it. I don't know if I beat it 100%, probably not, knowing myself, but nevertheless, that's going to be the first game in this video. So I'm going to set that right there, and then the next game is going to be Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, I have not played this game, but I have heard a lot of good things about Metal Gear Solid, and specifically the ones on the PlayStation 2. So I'm definitely going to get my hands on this at some point and play it. I've heard more things about not just this game, but also I've heard things about. Give me one second here. This game, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which I also own. So this game and Metal Gear Solid 2 are both games that I have never played before. I've never even really played a Metal Gear Solid game, but I am familiar with it. I've heard of it. And I've heard a lot of good things specifically about these games, especially Snake Eater. So I'll have to play this game definitely at some point. But other than that, I own them. So I think the only one I don't own is the first game. And I obviously don't have any of the ones on PS4. But I have these games in my collection, so I'll definitely have to start with these at some point. So yeah, that's the first 3 games down. Give me one second here. If I sound a little bit under the weather, I just had a lot of cookie dough, so that's probably why, because my body's still trying to digest that. So if I burp a lot like I did in the last video, please forgive me. So the next game we have here is going to be Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. Now this game, unlike the last 2 games, I have played, and I have beaten. It's been a long time since I beat it. but I did play it recently, and when I say recently, it was a few years ago. But I own both this game and the video game, which I'll get to at some point. But I also have the complete saga, and as you know, I also have the Skywalker saga for the Switch. And in my opinion, I've put a little bit of playtime in the Skywalker saga, but when it comes to the complete saga, that's actually the superior version of both this game and the video game, in my opinion. So I would definitely play that. It's basically um, this game and that game, but just put in one package. Um, and it's got all the episodes of this game and all the levels. And I think there's more characters for this game as well that were put into the complete saga, more than what was in this game too. So even with the addition of the new of the characters that were from the original game, if you have a save file, you can port them over to this game as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that game. Um, I also own, next up, our fifth game on the list, Crash Twinsanity. Now, if you had a PlayStation 2 and you do not own this game, what is wrong with you? Like, honestly, this game, for me personally, was actually the first game that got me into the Crash Bandicoot franchise. This was my very first Crash Bandicoot game. And despite how unfinished it is and how glitchy it is insanely enjoyable. It really is. Um, and you guys know, based on what I said earlier, a lot of you may know about the development history of this game. It was ridiculous how insane the development for this game was, and just how cut down and how drastically changed the original or this game was compared to its original design. In fact, excuse me for a moment. Oh, excuse me. In fact, this game, um, the content that was cut from this game, there's way more cut content from this game than what actually made it into the final release. And as for if they need to bring the game back, I would definitely not be against them bringing it back. I really wouldn't be. But if they want to take the ideas that were presented in this game and some of the cut ideas that never even made it into the game and use them for a brand new Crash game after Crash Bandicoot 4, I also wouldn't be opposed to that as well. So I'm kind of on both sides. So either way, Twinsanity is a really good game. It is kind of short, but it is very very enjoyable. It's a PS2 classic. If you don't have the game, like, honestly, what is wrong with you? So next up is going to be The Legend of Spyro: The Eternal Night. Now, I also own A New Beginning, which, similar to Lego Star Wars, the video game, we'll get to that in just a moment, but I own this game, and, this was one of the first games that I saw in a commercial, and, I was really excited for it, and don't get me wrong, I do like this game, but as an adult, because I played this when I was a kid, but as an adult, playing this game and analyzing it from its prequel, man, did they reskin a lot of stuff from the first game. They reused a lot of assets from A New Beginning into this version of the game, The Eternal Night. They did amp up the difficulty a little bit, which was nice. But still, this game at times is just it feels like a reskin more than anything. It's like, I understand if you want to use like assets that you had in the original game in your sequel, I get that, but don't make it like 50-60% of the game, because at that point you might as well just remaster or not even make this game in the first place. You might as well just remaster the original game. It's like the amount of content that they recycled, it was just not, it was ridiculous. Like, you know I still like this game. I have nostalgia for it. And it was one of the first games that I was really proud to beat, because once again, this game is really hard. um, but nevertheless, despite that, I do like this game, um, and as much as I do like it, I just wish that it didn't feel like such a reskin at times and like a revamped version of A New Beginning, and more so like it had its own identity, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Next up is going to be Spyro Into the Dragonfly, another Spyro game. Now, I said that I had problems with not Into the Dragonfly, the Eternal Night. That doesn't even compare to the amount of problems I have with this game. If you've seen videos online, if you've seen people's reviews of this game, almost every single one of them will tell you that this game is a pile of trash, and they're pretty much right. I wouldn't say that it deserves to be in the dumpster, but it definitely deserves all the hate that it gets because, this game, as cool as it was knowing that the Spyro franchise was going to get a brand new game on the newer consoles at the time, and I say that I was born when this game literally came out. um, as cool as that was to know I'm sure it was cool for Spyro fans to know that. This game turned out to be a mess. And I'm not even joking when I say that. This game, talk about an unfinished product. Like, I get that unfinished products are like a common theme nowadays in the gaming industry, but this was just unacceptable. Like, comparing it to the previous games, I think the first game had like 25 levels and like a lot of different things for you to do, whereas this game maybe has like one side task with the exception of like trying to get all the gems, and there's only 9 levels with like 90 different collectibles or dragonflies as they're called. Like, this game is pathetic. It's horrible. Like, I will say it looks good. I like the music, but it's clear that this game was not finished and it was not ready to be made. Um, you know, and this is one of those games. Usually, I'm all for developers bringing games back because I know that they can fix it. But in the case of Spyro Into the Dragonfly, excuse me one more time. In the case of Spyro Into the Dragonfly, as much as it may fix the game if they were to bring it back, it really wouldn't, in my personal opinion. This is one of those games that I'm actually against the idea of them remastering because it doesn't matter how many levels they bring back or how much they fix, it would still be a mess. It would still not be a good game. And this is probably one of my only childhood games, if I can even call it that, that I would just put on the shelf and just not even mess with it anymore. Like, I beat it recently, I would say about a year ago. Um, and I just have no intention of touching it in quite some time unless I really have to. I don't find it fun. I don't find it enjoyable. I wanted to try to find some redeeming factors about it, but it really is hard to do that because almost everything that people say online about this game is pretty much true. There's some people that try to find the positive in things, and I get that, and there is some positive, but the negative just outweighs it in like every legitimate aspect. And I really can't blame people when they are negative about this game. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it at that. Um, just don't buy that game if you ever see it. Please don't. It's the worst Spyro game ever made. I'll just say that. And then this is actually going to be the last game that's not in a proper game case, but it's still in a disc tray. SpongeBob, almost said Spyro, SpongeBob SquarePants Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Now, just like Spyro Into the Dragonfly, this is one of the worst SpongeBob games. I keep wanting to say SpongeBob games ever made, but I will say this game is a little bit better. Not much better, but a little bit better. Um, Even if the game's atmosphere and tone just feels completely off from what SpongeBob normally is. Now, just like with Spyro Into the Dragonfly, I did beat this game recently. Um, and I beat it, I think 100%. Actually, I don't think I did. I think it was like 99% or something like that. But I did beat it, nevertheless. Um, and the game, it has some of the same issues as Into the Dragonfly. It's not really glitchy or anything. Some people were saying online that the PS2 version of this game freezes a lot, and as a result, it like resets your data, and it also like takes you back to the PS2 screen, which is like really annoying. I think I had that happen to me like one time when I was a kid, but since the last time I played it, before then, the last time I played it was when I was a kid. So honestly, that was the only time I ever remember that happening. Um, but yeah, this game was I mean, just like with Enter the Dragonfly, it was not good. I will say it's like a little bit better, but not very much. The biggest thing for me with this game is just like I said, the tone and the atmosphere is nothing like SpongeBob. And usually when games or franchises do that, sometimes it's a good thing, but in this case, it's not, because SpongeBob is a colorful cartoon. Um, and it's usually has a lot of attitude and a lot of how do I describe it? A lot of like character, a lot of interesting characters. Um, this was like the tone was just really off. Like the levels feel really empty. And in some cases, it's just like unsettling. Like when you're hunting for the treasure, it just feels weird in this game. There are segments in the game where you have to hunt for the Flying Dutchman's treasure, and the music especially makes it just feel really unsettling. If you don't really understand what I'm talking about, definitely see if you can play this game yourself or look up a video of it or something. I mean, you could probably even look up the soundtrack for that portion of the game itself. This game only has like 7 soundtracks, so definitely do that if you have the chance, and then you might get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. So, but I'm gonna leave it there, and then for now, I'm gonna put these games. Let's see. I'm gonna put them right here. So we're gonna do that, and then the next games that I have, the next set of games that I have, all of them are gonna be in game cases. So no more like disc trays or anything or anything of that nature. It's all gonna be in game cases, even in cases like this, which is like the most generic game case you could ever own. But what's actually funny is what's in here is Crash Nitro Kart. And this is actually a game I played recently. Now, of course, they did technically do a remaster of this game with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which was primarily a remaster of Crash Team Racing from the PS1. But it does have a lot of elements from this game in there as well. And I played this game recently, like earlier this year. It's an okay game, but I can definitely see why they felt the need to technically do a remaster of it and bring it back. And that's because I noticed, like, especially in the controls department, this game's controls were not very good. And it just feels really sluggish at times. And honestly, I haven't played enough of it to really judge how I feel about the game. Like, I have these other games right here, in that pile right here. I haven't played it enough to really get a feel for how my opinion is based on. But I will say that from what I have played so far, it's definitely inferior to Crash Team Racing, and it is definitely inferior to Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. So, yeah, either way, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Um, the next game we have here is actually going to be Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Now, this is actually one of those PS2 games. I have a few of these, actually, that are going to be on the PlayStation 4. I actually have a copy of it on PS4. This I own digitally. But if we open the case here, we'll also find the manual as well. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing because obviously I don't want this video to be super long. but I do at least want to show off, you know, some of these manuals, because some of these games do have manuals, and I bought this game a long time ago. I've never beat it even to this day. In fact, I played this game recently on the PS4, and I'm currently stuck on one boss that I just haven't like really gone back and even bothered to try to mess with. But I have, you know, obviously I have played this game, and there's a lot of like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's been a couple years since the last time I played it, but you know, it's, for what it is, it's an okay Star Wars game. There's a lot of Star Wars games like this. The Force Unleashed definitely comes to mind, but you know, it's cool that they made a game specifically about, I believe this is Jango Fett. I don't know if Boba Fett's in here, because I always get the two confused with Star Wars. But I do know that Jango Fett's in here. And there's a few bosses. I think I beat the first boss, but the second boss, he was in like a Republic starship, and I couldn't figure out like how to beat him. That's the part I'm actually stuck on right now, and he just drained a lot of my health, and excuse me, sorry. I didn't have the patience to really go back, because I think like once I died I had to restart the whole level again, and I was not wanting to do that at all. So I just gave up ever since then, and ever since that point I just haven't gone back and tried to play it and beat it. So yeah, I hope that I've been capturing everything in this manual. If not, it's fine, because I didn't even plan on showing all of it anyway. But yeah, it looks like that's pretty much it. So we're gonna put that. Oh, we're gonna put that back in the case. I'm really tired right now. So yeah, so Star Wars Bounty Hunter, I have not beat it, but I own both the PlayStation 2 and I own a digital version of the PS4 copy of this game. And I'll probably show that once I get to my PS4 game collection. So yeah, it's an okay game. It's not anything to write home about, but you know, if you want, like, if you're a big Star Wars fan and you want to check it out, I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah. Speaking of Star Wars, this is actually a game I was talking about earlier. Lego Star Wars, the video game. Now, this game I have beat. And like I said, I do own the complete saga, both on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And just like with the original trilogy, this game has its own 3 episodes, but instead of the original trilogy, it's Lego Star Wars, it's episodes 1, 2, and 3. And of course, this was actually one of the very first Lego games ever made. Traveler's Tales was actually the same studio who also made Crash Twinsanity, and they also made Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. And they went and they made this game, which at one point I actually did not even know about. And to this day, they're still making the Lego games, which is really interesting to me. But we also have the manual for this game, too. And we're going to look at that really quickly here. Yeah, this game was, it was fun. I remember when I first played it, it was really simple, but I also remember there was an extra in this game. If you got True Jedi status on every level, you unlocked a bonus level, which was leading into the events of the original trilogy. It was episode 4, and the level was literally called A New Hope, and it was basically the same level from the original trilogy, Secret Plans from episode 4, but from the perspective of the dark side. It was no longer from the perspective of the rebels like it was in that game, so I was definitely a big fan of that. And it was one of those things I was really happy to find as a kid, because at that point I never even knew that this game had any element of the original trilogy, and I thought it was just purely the prequels. which obviously I'm a big fan of the prequels too. So, and it also had Darth Sidious in it too, which was also very interesting. I did not know that either, so I was definitely interested to see that as well. And I actually forgot about that up until recently because I've been watching videos of it too. So yeah, interesting stuff. Next up, we have a game called Black, which I've heard a lot of good things about. I've actually yet to play this game, but I've seen my brother-in-law play it. It looks a little bit like Call of Duty, but I don't really know anything about it, and I haven't played it yet. So I'll definitely have to give it a shot at some point. I think I got this at my local game store, not GameStop. But I got this from my local game store. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's Video Game Rescue. I got this from there, and I don't know how long I've had it for, but I've had it for a few years, and I just haven't really put in the time to play it yet. But nevertheless, it is in my collection when I'm ready to play it. So at some point, I'm definitely gonna pop it in and give it a try. Because God knows I've heard a lot of good things about it. So at some point I might as well. I don't know if it has online. I don't think it does. I'd be interested to see if it does, but as far as I know, I don't believe it supports online mode. So yeah. Next up is actually another Star Wars game. A lot of these are Star Wars games. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. I actually mentioned this a little bit earlier, but oh man, excuse me. I do not even know what that was. This is also this is the PS2 version of this game. I own the PS3 version. And the next gen version of this game is very different from the version that you see right here. I mean, it's the same cover art and everything, but the gameplay is very different. I haven't beat either version, but I made it really far in this version of the game. And I don't know how different it is. I do know that in both versions of the game, starting off you play as Darth Vader, and then eventually you play as, I want to say this guy's name is Starkiller. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure his name is Starkiller. I do also know that the developer for this game was also the same one who made not just this game. There's another Star Wars game. It's actually the next one. They also made Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Republic Heroes, and they also made the Legend of Spyro games as well, the first two, and they made some Jimmy Neutron games as well. So they're not just the Star Wars franchise; they've also made other games too, and these are the games that they made. I don't think that the developer had made. The developer for this had also made the PS3 version. I think that was developed by a whole nother studio. But I guess now that I have this game on, I'll talk about it too. But this was also made by the same studio. And both of these games, both the Force Unleashed and this game that you see right here, I have not beat either one. Well, I may have beat this game, but it's been forever since I have touched this game. But obviously it covers the Clone Wars, which I believe was set before the events of episodes 2 and 3, or possibly like in between each one. But this game I have not played in years, and you know what? I guess I'll go ahead and open it up and show you guys. I might even do the same thing with the Force Unleashed, but I was debating on whether or not I wanted to do that, but yeah, this game, like I said, I haven't played it in years, but I played it a lot as a kid. And I remember there being so many levels in this game, like a crap ton. I don't even remember how much there were, but there was a ton of levels in this game from what I remember. And there was a little bit to do, but again, it's been years since I have touched it. So yeah, I'll have to maybe pop it in at some point and try to play it. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really found the time to play it recently because I've been playing other stuff, and also too I wasn't really the biggest fan of the Clone Wars. I tried to get into it, I just wasn't really like the biggest fan of it, but you know. And then here's the Force Unleashed. This obviously is not in the Clone Wars. This is after Anakin became Darth Vader. So this is a completely different time period in the Star Wars era. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. So, next up, we have another Star Wars game. Star Wars Starfighter. This game I haven't played in years, but I know that it's very similar to Jedi Starfighter, which I also own. I'll get to that game in a little bit. This was a PS2 game that I haven't played in years, but I have owned it for the longest time, and sometimes I even forget I have it. But it looks like it takes place during the events of Episode 1, just based on the Starfighter and the cover for this game. It looks like this is set on Naboo. And just the Starfighter alone reminds me of the Phantom Menace, so that leads me to believe that this takes place in Episode 1. I could be wrong, because I haven't played this game in a while, but nevertheless, this is, I remember playing this game, I got really bored, and I think I only beat, like, the first level, but I never really put a lot of time into it, and I think I died a lot too. I don't remember, but it's honestly been so long since I touched this game, so I barely remember anything. I just know that this game I'm not too familiar with. I'm definitely not as familiar with it as I am Jedi Starfighter, but even that game I haven't beat. There's a lot of PS2 games I haven't beat, but I just remember like the first level. I have like a brief vision of this game, and that's it. I don't really like remember a whole lot, so maybe I'll pop it back in at some point in my PS2 and try to play it again, but other than that, I just haven't really had a desire to go back and try to play it recently, so I just don't really care, to be honest, but, maybe I'll give it another go ahead and see if I like it or not, but either way, that's all I have to say about it. And with that being said, we're going to put this pile right over here. So that's another pile down. All right. Next up, we have Call of Duty World at War Final Fronts. Now, this game I also own, just like with Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I own the next-gen version of this game, and I mean, obviously this is, the superior version. I'm kidding. The PS3 and Xbox 360 version is better, but I will say that this version, for as simple as it is actually enjoyable. I did like the little campaign that they had. I'd never beat it, but I got really far. I think I got stuck on one of the British missions, but I did make it pretty far in this game, and I was surprised to learn that World at War even had a PS2 port made whenever the game came out. But let me just put this in perspective for you. Isn't it really sad how a PS2 port of a game like World at War is better than anything in Vanguard? Let me just paint that image for you right there. Like, just imagine how sad that is, how pitiful that really is. Doesn't that really just show you how downhill Call of Duty has been since Black Ops Cold War, probably, maybe Modern Warfare, but Cold War definitely. Like, it's sad. It's so sad to think about that, but yeah, just nothing will ever compare to how bad Vanguard and Cold War were. I mean, Vanguard is just so bad, I just don't even really care, but Cold War was just, that game was pitiful. I couldn't stomach that game. It was so garbage. It's not even funny, but yeah, I can make a whole video about that, but I'm not even gonna bother. I'll just save that for another time. But let me fix this real quick. But anyways, next up we have Nicktoons Attack of the Toy Bots. Now I used to own this game on the Wii, way back in the day when I had a Nintendo Wii. Just like with a lot of the other games I played, I've never beat this. Um, I don't even remember much about it because I owned a Wii a long time ago, but I never beat this game. Um, and I remember, like, I have a brief image of, like, the first level. I kind of remember the first level, but not very much. The biggest thing I remember is the title screen music. I really like the title screen music for this game. It was really catchy. And I definitely recommend if you have the time, look it up. It's like a really catchy theme that they had going for this game, and it honestly was, it really like fit the theme of Nicktoons very well, and it makes me, because I got this copy of the game recently, it makes me want to go back. Wait, what's this? Top secret Nickelodeon game files. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I'll put this right here. Honestly, I'm so tired, I don't even know what to do. But we're gonna look at this first. But yeah, this game, I have played the other Nicktoons games. I own like one other Nicktoons game, actually two. Um, but this is one of them. I haven't played this version of the game yet, but because I just got it like not too long ago. But I am a fan of Nicktoons, more so like SpongeBob and um, like Jimmy Neutron and all. But I like the other characters. I'm not too familiar with. I believe that's Tack. This is a name. I'm not too familiar with that show. I know that they aired it on Nickelodeon, but I don't think it lasted all that long. I don't think it was as popular as all the other ones. But while we're at it, let's look at these. What is this? Top secret Nickelodeon game files. To think that they still have this. Interesting. Oh, I do know about this game. I know that. But I never played it before. Interesting. So I guess it's like a little teaser for other like games. Let me look and see. When did this game come out? Let's see. This game came out 2007 is when it released. So I guess that there was still, I think that would have been a time frame when other Nicktoons PS2 games were coming out. So, and yeah, PS2 games were still being made at that time. So, so I guess that would make sense. But yeah, at some point I'm definitely gonna play this. I am a fan of Nicktoons, and I'm obviously a big fan of SpongeBob and Jimmy Neutron and all. So I'll have to pop this in at some point and play it. Other than that, that's all I really have to say about it. Next up, we have The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning. Now I talked about the Eternal Night earlier in the video. This is basically the prequel to this game, or the first version of it rather, because it's kind of the same game to be honest. But this game, I would probably prefer this game over the Eternal Night, honestly. I don't know. I mean, the Eternal Night's really good. Actually, they're both good games. But this game, I think what gets me most about this game is the soundtrack. This game has some of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a video game. And that's not, I don't say that lightly. Like, this has some of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. If you have a chance, I would definitely recommend looking it up. Because it's very, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's so catchy. It's so, like, talk about nostalgia. Like, it is so nostalgic. And it just really hits home because this was, like, the first Spyro game I ever played. And say what you want about how simple it is, how easy it is. The game is really easy. That's probably the biggest issue I have is how easy the game is. But say what you want about it. I still like it. I still love the game. You know, I would never say that it's a masterpiece, but it is definitely a very nostalgic game for me, and it's a game that I will never forget about. nor tire of. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Next up is another PS2 classic, and I just have to say this, just like with Crash Twinsanity, if you had a PS2 and you never had this game, again, what is wrong with you? Like, seriously, what the hell is wrong with you if you've never owned this game? SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. This game right here. Not only is this a PS2 classic in my opinion, but this game was actually the very first PS2 platformer I ever owned and played in my life. And I do not regret saying those words because this is one of the best. This is probably the best SpongeBob game ever made. I mean, the movie game definitely does come to mind, but this game right here is like incredible. It is so much fun. I have so many memories with this game. I have so much nostalgia, and you best know we're taking out that manual. We're going to look at it because this is easily one of the best. It's one of the best PS2 games ever made. We'll just say that. And, you know, when they announced Rehydrated in 2019, I was super excited, and I was a little let down when that version of the game came out, because I was expecting it to have a lot more. And don't get me wrong, Rehydrated, kind of like what I reiterated in my last video, was very, you know, it was still enjoyable, and I still liked it, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more. But I don't necessarily blame Purple Lamp Studios, because I know that they had a little bit of a time frame. They only, excuse me, they were only given so much time to make this game and to, you know, develop it and, you know, even make it possible. So that's why you didn't see a lot of content in there. Why most of it was just from this version of the game, but just redone and reworked for the newer consoles. So, yeah. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Just if you have a PS2 or if you have an original Xbox, honestly, this is like the biggest thing you need before you ever even play your PS2. Like, honestly, this game is a classic. You need to have it. There is no reason why your PS2 should be on if you don't have this game. Honestly, like, this game is incredible, and it's one of my favorite PS2 games. It's one of my favorite platformers of all time. It really is. This is a classic PlayStation 2 game. So I'm just gonna leave it right there. um, but other than that, that's all I had to say about Battle for Bikini Bottom. And you know, just like with my last video, I do own the rehydrated version. We'll probably cover that again in my PS4 collection. That won't be until much later on. Next game here, another Spyro game, Spyro: A Hero's Tale. This was, I believe, like the third Spyro game I ever played, and I actually really enjoyed this game. Even if it may not be as good as the original Insomniac trilogy, because I did play that on the PS3 via backwards compatibility, and that was a lot of fun. I did enjoy that. But this game is really enjoyable as well. I know that some people still had problems with it, you know, because it definitely was not. It's not the best game ever made, but you know, this game, for how simple it is and how easy it is very easy. Um, I do like the different playable characters, and I do like the different environments that you go to. I especially like some of the boss battles, not all of them. There's only 4 boss fights in this game. But I also like the final boss. I especially like the final boss because the final fight is actually here. I'll show you the manual too. I know specifically where it's at too. So it's basically the main villain of this game is a character by the name of Red, who, from my understanding, was never in another Spyro game. He was only in this game, and he was the main antagonist. And if we look right here, we can see all of the boss fights in this game, or at least all of them except for the final one, which is basically Red the Evil Dragon, but he's Mecha Red. So, like, you know how, like, Frieza is he also has his Mecha Frieza form. That's basically what happens to this guy at the end of this game. He becomes Mecha Red, and I know it's probably not the biggest deal, especially with PS2 graphics nowadays, but I don't know why seeing that as a kid just like blew my mind. That was really cool to see as a kid playing Spyro Heroes Tale, and especially beating it. Um, I guess the only thing I can really say is that I do wish that you didn't have to fight him twice. But honestly, that made up for it because like that was one of the coolest things for me to see as a kid, and it makes me really happy that I got to play a game like this. Even if it's not my favorite game of all time, it is definitely a very memorable game and a game that I would recommend if you're a fan of Spyro. Definitely getting your hands on it. So yeah. But other than that, that's all I can really say about it. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna stick this. So we're gonna move this up a little bit, and we're gonna put this right here. Yeah, we're gonna put it right there. That's perfect. All right. Next up, we have Star Wars Battlefronts. This is also another PS2 game that I picked up recently, and I did play this like once, like sometime last month. It was actually really fun. I don't own the second one, unfortunately. I do own the PS4 Battlefronts, both the first one and the second one. But the only one I don't own is the original Battlefront 2. But I do own this one. This one's pretty fun. And I haven't played too much of it, but it's really like, talk about like tactical, like game mode battles and stuff. Like this is like the definition of that. I didn't play online or anything. Honestly, I don't even know if online's possible because it's an old PS2 game, and with how old this game is, I doubt that there's really anyone online playing it. But the time that I spent in single player was really good, and I would definitely recommend if you're a fan of Star Wars and you're a fan of like tactical shooters and ones where there's a lot of strategy involved and like a lot of like in some cases destruction and just like planning and everything and domination too. This is definitely a game that I would recommend picking up. And it also is not just in perspective of like the clones or the stormtroopers. It's also in the perspective of other I can't speak. It's also in the perspective of like other sides. Like you also have the droid army. You also have the Jedi. Which the Jedi were in the Rebels versus the Stormtroopers, but it's basically the Republic against, I believe, I want to say the Senate, I'm not sure, but basically it's the droid army against the Republic, that's what it is. I couldn't think of it for some reason, I don't know why, but I'm not going to spend the whole time looking through this manual. But basically, this is a really cool game from what I've played. I'm not even close to, dominating every single planet. But from what I have played, I think I did like, one planet and then a few like different game modes on certain maps. But I'll have to put some more playtime into it because this game is definitely worth checking out if you're a Star Wars fan. So I'll have to put more time into it and play it more. But other than that, it's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's a good game. I would definitely say it's a good game. And if you have the time, if you can order it online or pick it up at your local game store, I would definitely recommend doing so because it's really enjoyable from what I've played so far. So, yeah. Next up is a game that I've not played in a long time, nor did I ever remember beating this game, Ratatouille. Now, I have seen the movie of this. The movie was really good. It's one of my favorite Disney Pixar movies. And this movie, or this game rather, was really enjoyable. I liked a lot of the different gameplay varieties it had. However, I never beat this game because I remember specifically I got stuck in a specific portion of the game, which was, it was like some kind of market area that I could never get past, because I had like three different objectives that I can never figure out how to beat, and because of that, I never beat this game, which was very unfortunate. But yeah, to this day, I still have not beat this game, but I might pop it back in and try to play it again. Um, but you know, it's okay for what it is. Like it's not like a game to write home about, but I do like the movie. I definitely liked the Ratatouille Pixar movie. I haven't seen it in a few years. I might rewatch it again, but other than that, it's just a simple Disney Pixar movie. What do you really expect with these? I did like the platform Dreamy Stage levels. They reminded me a little bit of the SpongeBob movie with the combat challenges as well as the platform challenges and the SpongeBob arenas. It reminded me a little bit of those. So that was really fun. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say. It's not the best game I've ever played, but then again, this is also coming from someone who hasn't played it in a while, so maybe my opinion of that will change if I ever decide to pop it back in again. So yeah. Next up is Crash Mind Over Mutant. Now, this game I owned on the Nintendo Wii, which I no longer have. This game, I did end up beating. It's very similar to that of Crash of the Titans, but it's got some improvements. I do not own Crash of the Titans as we speak. I might try to get my not my copy. I might try to get my hands on a newer copy of it if possible. I know they have it on the 360, so I might try to get it on there. Same thing with this game too, but this game I actually own, and this was it was really enjoyable. Once again, just like with some of the other games I mentioned, for some reason the soundtrack sticks to me. Mainly the main menu soundtrack for when you load up the game. That was actually one of the most iconic soundtracks in Crash Bandicoot. And especially when you think about the fact that this game, um, going into 2008, was the last Crash Bandicoot game we would be getting up until like 8 years later with the Insane Trilogy. So that's kind of, that really speaks volume, considering now that we have gotten like three new games in like the past 5, 6 years ever since then. So yeah, that definitely hits home to think about. But yeah, this game, it's fun. It's not anything to really write home about. It's definitely enjoyable. I might try to pop it back in again and play it and um, see if I can beat it again. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Um, I might even try to get my hands on the 360 version of it just so I can maybe grab a couple achievements if possible. But other than that, that's all I got to say about that. Moving on here. We have Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Squad-Based Battlefield Combat. Um, and this is basically, I don't know if that's the actual title. I think it's just Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, but basically it's another Tom Clancy game. I'm not too familiar with Tom Clancy, but I have played a few of the games. This is actually a game that I have yet to play. But I do own a copy of it. I also picked this up at Video Game Rescue. I don't know much about this game other than I think it's like one of the first titles ever made in the Tom Clancy games. Unless they had some on PS1, then, maybe I'm wrong. But I'm not going to even bother with the manual because I think the manual for this is super long. So, and like I said, I don't really know much about this game. So, I'm not even going to waste my time with that. And I'm not going to waste your guys' time with that. So, but... And I'm sure they have it somewhere online too. Try not to make this video too long. But other than that, there's not really much I can say about it. Like I said, I haven't played it, but it's one of those games that I really wanted to try to get into. Like it's one of those franchises rather that I've wanted to try to get into the different games that they have. And I mean, this is definitely a good place to start because from what I know, it's one of the very first Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon games that they ever made. So, yeah, I mean, it's there when I want to play it. So, we'll definitely get to that at some point. Maybe I might try to record it when I do. Not really sure. I don't really have the proper recording equipment for that, but other than that, we're gonna move on. I'm also getting really tired too, and it's late at night, so I don't want to be on this for too much longer. This is actually the next Nicktoons game I have, SpongeBob SquarePants, featuring Nicktoons Globs of Doom. I don't know why they stress SpongeBob's name in this. It's really weird, but this game I have beaten. It's been a long time, but I do remember beating this game. I specifically remember the final boss fight. I don't really remember anything else that happens, but I do remember the final boss fight. It took place in outer space, and it was this big, like, pile of blob, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this was an enjoyable game because not only could you play as the heroes, but the villains were also playable too. I'm also not going to bother with the manual on this one because, once again, I'm trying not to waste too much time here, but I'm sure they probably have the manuals of these games online, so if you guys want to look it up, you're more than welcome to, but I just don't want to, waste your time or waste my time just pulling them out, especially in some cases when I'm not even going to show the full thing. It's like, then I might as well not even grab it out, so. But other than that, this is yet another game I haven't played in years, but I do remember beating it. It was really enjoyable, really fun. I do like that you could play as the villains. That was really cool. It had a lot of characters from what I remember and a lot of levels too. So if you ever have the chance, definitely pick it up. I might try to pop it back in at some point and try to play it again because it's been years since I played it. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, it's another Call of Duty game. Call of Duty 2 Big Red One. Now, here's the thing about this game, right? I got this game recently and I played it, I didn't play the multiplayer because I don't even think I have that set up on my PS2 yet. There's barely any PS2 games that I had that featured any sort of online mode. So that's why I just never set it up on my PS2. But I played this game. I played like the first mission and I beat it. And the game froze on me afterwards and I could never fix it. I tried cleaning it, I tried dusting it off and everything, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and no matter what I did, it just wasn't working. So that really disappointed me to know that, and I just, it really just killed my desire to want to play it. So I just didn't even bother trying to play it anymore afterwards. And I haven't played it since, but maybe at some point I'll try to pop it back in and give it another shot. But yeah, it really disappointed me when that happened because I was really wanting to get into that game and play the missions, but because I'm a big Call of Duty fan, but unfortunately that may not happen anytime soon. So yeah. Anyways, another Nicktoons game. This is actually the last one I have, Nicktoons Unite. So I pretty much have every Nicktoons game except for Battle for Volcano Island, but I will say I have played and beat that game, but it's been a long time since I've played it. But this game I have made it really far in, but I've never beat it. That's the thing. I've never beat this game. This game got really hard. I remember once you got to the later stages, like this right here with Mr. Crocker in that robot suit, that boss fight I got stuck on as a kid, and it took me forever to beat it. And then I think I got stuck on Jimmy's Home World, which is like the final level of the game. That was really challenging. And honestly, I don't think I've even played the game since, but yeah, I do remember it being really challenging. And I just haven't really put the time in to go back and play it again. I think I have to start over too because I don't even think I have that save file anymore. But yeah, this game was really challenging once you got into the later stages. But I'll have to pop it back in and see if I can beat it. I keep saying that, pop it back in and play it again. But I'll have to play it again at some point and see if I can beat it because I do enjoy this game. It's really fun. I just with some of these games I don't really put in the amount of time to beat them, and sometimes I just forget about them for years on end, and I never end up beating them. But who knows? Maybe I'll try to beat this game again at some point because I do remember enjoying this game, and You know, it was I think it was one of the first PS2 games I ever played. So because I remember getting this whenever GameStop used to sell PS2 games. So that was way back in the day. I don't have that copy anymore, but yeah, that's how long I've known about this game for. So yeah. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. Next up, we have another Star Wars game, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Obviously set in the Clone Wars era. This is another game that I have not made it very far into. Some of these Star Wars games I remember being really hard. This was a prime example. I remember I beat like the first level of this game, and then the second level had you playing as Mace Windu, and you battled a bunch of droids, and I remember it being so ridiculously hard, and I never beat it. And just like with some of these other games, I just never went back to it and tried to beat it again, and I just haven't bothered with it since. But I've had it all these years, and just like with some of these other games, I probably should get back to them at some point and see if I can beat them, because some of these games have been sitting in my collection forever now, and just knowing that I haven't beat them yet is kind of irritating me, considering how many of them I have. But yeah, um, this is the manual for the game. I don't remember much about it. I remember the first level was a vehicle segment. That I didn't really struggle too much with. But the second part, for some reason, just like I just could never beat it. Um, and it reminded me a little bit of playing through the Revenge of the Sith game, uh, which I don't have at the moment, but I have played before. And that game gave me a hard time as a kid, but I did eventually beat that too. Um, I don't know why this manual is so sticky, but it's probably from having this game for all these years. But yeah, I guess these are the characters in the game. I didn't make it too far to know about all this stuff, but nevertheless, it is here. I do apologize if, like I said, I'm really tired right now, so I do apologize if I haven't fully captured the manual, gotten it in the whole video clip, but um, I haven't really made it too far in the game to know about a lot of this stuff, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close the manual for now. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about that game, Star Wars Clone Wars. I might try to pop it back in and play it at some point. But other than that, I really don't have much else to say about it other than it is what it is. I haven't beaten it or anything like that, and it's been years since I've played it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it on that. We've only got 2 more piles left, but they have a lot of games. So I'm going to try to make this quick. So we're going to move that to the side. And then move on to the next game here, which is Superman Returns. I actually forgot I even have this game, but I do. And I've owned it for a super long time. I do apologize if the copy of this or the case is not in the greatest condition. I've honestly had this game for years, and I even forgot it was in my collection. But this game I remember being really hard, and I never beat it. And I remember there was one level where you had to stop meteors from crashing onto the Earth. And I couldn't beat that. I don't know why, but I just could never beat that segment. I never could figure out how to beat it. And ever since then, I just haven't played it. I have not played it ever since then. And honestly, I even forgot I had this game. So, yeah, maybe at some point I'll try to pop it back in and play it. But, yeah, I just haven't really bothered putting in time into it recently. But other than that, that's all I have to say about it. I just like I said, I haven't really played it in a long time, so yeah. Next up, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. I do apologize if I don't have the actual copy of this game, the actual game cover. And yes, I did get this from GameStop. Don't judge me. That's how long it's been since I've had this. But I also, just like with the other Star Wars games, I have not beaten this one. There's a lot of Star Wars games I have on here that I have not beaten, and this is one of them. But I also own the PS4 version of this game, which I've yet to play, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as this version. But this game, It was alright. It was definitely better than Starfighter. I remember Starfighter being really boring, but this game is a little bit better, but it was still pretty difficult. I could never beat the first, or I think it was the second mission, of the game. I can never figure out how to beat it, but maybe at some point I'll try to play it again and see if I can beat it. But I've tried a few times over the years, and I can never figure it out. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. Next up, we have another game that I haven't played in years, Iron Man. I made it really far in this game. One of the things I liked is that obviously you play as Iron Man and you feel like unbeatable. The first level of this game actually had the Iron Man theme song, which was really cool. And I remember just you felt like completely invincible, and it was such a cool feeling. But honestly, ever since then, I have not played the game, and I did make it really far, but I got stuck on one portion where I had to destroy like rocket ships or something, and I just could never beat it, which was a little bit far into the game. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I never, like I said, I haven't beaten it, but I might try to play it again and see if I can. I'm sure that it's possible, but other than that, that's pretty much all I can say about it. Not much else to add on to that there. Next up, Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. Finally, another PS2 game that I have beaten. This game is not exactly the best Crash Bandicoot game. In fact, I'd say it's probably one of the worst ones on the PS2. Probably is the worst one, to be honest. But it's not exactly a terrible game either. It had some moments, but I'm just going to say the vehicle levels in this game are not fun. The worst part about this game, though, without a doubt, is the relics. The relics are definitely the worst part about this game, and they're basically what break it. Because some of the levels are not fun to play, and the controls are a little bit like, they're a little bit janky. The music was actually decent in this game. It's not the best soundtrack, but it had some moments where it really stood out and it really fit the theme of Crash Bandicoot. But other than that, this is just another generic Crash Bandicoot game. It definitely doesn't compare to Crash Bandicoot 4. I'd say if you're a fan, definitely check it out, but I wouldn't say that it would make you a fan. But it's definitely worth a go ahead if you're a fan of, well, Crash Bandicoot. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I can add to that. Next up, we have Avatar: The Burning Earth. Now, I have not played or watched any of the Avatar games or seasons, but I have seen them all before, the seasons, that is. And yes, once again, I got this from GameStop. Um, but I have not played or I've not watched the Avatar show in a long time. And this was actually a game just like with what was the game before? I don't remember. Iron Man. Just like with Iron Man, I made it really far in this game, but I never beat it. I don't know why I do that with a lot of games. I make it really far into it, and then I never beat it. I don't know why I've never done that, but this was one of them. I like the cover for this game though, or the game case. It's actually really nice. I really like it. If you see that there, I don't know if that's just the case that it came in, or if it's um, the actual like if it's to fit the actual design of like the game itself. I don't know what that is, but it looks really nice and I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, but that's pretty much all I can say about that. I remember enjoying the game, so I'll have to get back into it at some point. I need to get back into Avatar in general at some point. So yeah. Next up here is Batman Vengeance. This is a game that I once again have not played in a long time, but I do own it. Um, and the thing is with this game is I only beat the first level. And here's the thing, one of the reasons I had a big problem with this game. It was too dark. It was really dark, and that made it really hard for me to get into it. I remember the first time I played this game, I had to stop because the game was just so dark. And I don't mean dark like it was like gory or anything. I mean dark like it was just hard to see and it was hard to follow what was going on. And because of that, it made it hard for me to get into. But to be fair, I was a kid at the time. So maybe as an adult, if I go back and play it, maybe I'll appreciate it more. But yeah, this game was just not. Um, it was just too dark. That was my biggest problem. It was too dark. But maybe if I play it again now, I'll have a better opinion of it. But yeah, I'm not even really going to bother with the manual because I don't really know much about the plot other than it's a Batman game. So I'm sure that it'll have something to do with the Joker and maybe Bane or whatever. But I will say, judging by some of these pictures, like this one down here, it does look like the game does get a little bit less dark, so to speak. So maybe that'll make it a little bit more enjoyable. And it looks like Mr. Freeze is in this game too. So that should be cool. I don't know if it'll be like another Batman Arkham Asylum. I don't know if it'll ever be like that because that game was really good. But who knows? Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe I'll actually enjoy this game the next time I play it. But who knows? Other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. And then next up, we have another Call of Duty game, Call of Duty 3. Now, here's the thing about this game. Just like with Call of Duty 2, this game froze on me. But here's the difference. This game froze on me before I could even load into the first level. Like, oh man. Like, I just don't have... I seemingly don't have good luck with PS2 games at all. And this was definitely one of them. This was actually given to me by a friend. But I haven't played it ever since then, and I just haven't really like bothered trying to play it ever since. Yeah, that sounds really bad considering a friend gave it to me. I feel like such a jerk saying that, but yeah, this was given to me by a friend years ago, and I tried playing it, and the game froze on me. And I tried cleaning it and everything, and it just wasn't working. Um, but with the actual game itself, I mean, I have played the Xbox 360 version. Um, yeah, I did play the 360 version. And I beat the campaign and everything. It was a really good campaign. It's definitely not Treyarch's best moments. I don't even know if this version was developed by Treyarch. I'm pretty sure it was. Um, but I do know that Treyarch is the main developer for this game. And they eventually went on to make World at War and Black Ops 1. So based on those games, this is definitely not their greatest piece of work, but it's memorable. I will say that. Even if the multiplayer isn't all that special, I mean it's better than Vanguard. I'll say that. It's better than Vanguard. It's better than Cold War. It's better than any of those games. It's nothing special, but this was their early days. This was Call of Duty's early days, so I'll let it pass. Um, but at some point, I would like to try to play this because my friend did give this to me, so I need to try to see if I can get it to work. I just haven't really put in the time to do so, so, you know. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. So we're going to go ahead and move on. And we're almost done here. We're an hour and 13 minutes and 43 seconds into this. And the last set of games that we have here are actually all Dragon Ball Z games. So I'm just going to try to speed through this a little bit quickly here. Because these are all games that I'm familiar with, and I have beat pretty much all these games. Not all of them, but I have beat a few of them. So we're going to go ahead. We're just not even going to waste any more time. We're just going to get straight into it. First game here, Dragon Ball Z Budokai. The first Dragon Ball Z game I ever played. This was actually what got me into Dragon Ball. And I played it years ago. My cousin, he used to come over a lot when we were a lot younger. And when I say a lot younger, I mean like this was more than just a decade ago when this happened. And I guess his mom gave him this game as like a present or something. I really don't know what the occasion was. And for some reason he brought it over, and I looked at my disc tray one year And this was like during the summer, and I saw this game and I was like, what is this? And I popped it in and I played it and I was like, this actually isn't that bad. And then eventually it led me to get the other games, which I'll show in just a little bit. But Dragon Ball Z Budokai, I will say, while the game is good, it's definitely, you can tell it's the very first, like, Dragon Ball Z Budokai game, and it's what really got Dragon Ball Z popular in the first place, because it does have its issues. I would say the biggest issue with this game, however, is the skill shop. The skill shop, I'm so glad it got reworked in the other games because it sucks in this game, especially when it comes to getting Dragon Balls. Oh my god, it is the worst thing ever. And trying to get breakthrough for every character. I know there's a way where if you buy every capsule in the game, you can unlock everything legitimately like a lot faster, but that takes just as long from what I know. So either way, timing is like completely screwed in this game. So there's like no point in saying that this is like, the easiest way to 100% this game, because there really is no easy way. I mean, I'm sure it's easy, but it's time consuming. So that's what makes it really difficult. But other than that, this is definitely a classic PS2 game, just like some of the other games I showed. And I actually did beat it 100% recently. I didn't buy out every capsule, but I did get all the breakthrough capsules finally, which feels really, really good to say. Because this was the very first Dragon Ball Z game I ever played, so I mean, it does feel good to know that that was the case. So yeah. Next up, we have the sequel, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. What's weird is going from the first game to this game, they actually removed some characters, which was really weird. For example, Dodoria and Zarbon were no longer in this game, and in fact, they were no longer playable in the Budokai series in general, but it did introduce the Majin Buu saga. Excuse me. Because the first game only had the sagas up to, it only followed the story up to the Cell saga, whereas this game followed the story up to the Majin Buu saga, as you see right here. And what was really cool about this game, a lot of people didn't like this game, but what was really cool about this game is that not only did it have like what if absorptions for like Majin Buu and like a lot of like fusions that weren't in the actual lore of Dragon Ball, and Potara earrings, but it also like, or Potara fusions rather, but it also had a lot of interesting story segments. Like, for example, instead of Nappa and Vegeta coming to Earth, it's actually Raditz and Nappa, and Raditz doesn't just come by himself. So that was interesting, and a lot of people didn't like the story mode in this game, and I can definitely understand where they're coming from, but come on, it's not the worst thing ever. It's different, at least. It's not the same story that we get every year, just told in a different like, with a different like gameplay style. Like, it's at least different. The story itself is at least different, and I can appreciate that. So please get over it, people. It's not the worst thing ever. So I'm at least glad that it's different than what it normally is. So yeah. Next up, we have Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, which is once again the sequel to the Budokai series. This is what a lot of people consider to be the greatest one in the series. It's actually, a lot of people consider this to be one of the best Dragon Ball Z games ever made, and I can definitely see where they're coming from. I will say, this game has phenomenal music. This game's music, oh my god. It makes me, like, really wish, it makes me just wonder how, like, what in what world does it have to be copyrighted for? Like, I honestly wish that when they remade this game for the PS3 and the 360, or uh, remade it, quote unquote. I say that because it's pretty much just a port. When they brought it to those consoles, I really wish they had kept the music the same, but I understand that it's copyright. My god, it doesn't feel different with the newer music. The newer music is good in some cases, but in other cases, it was not designed for this game. The music that was used in this version of the game is the superior version. It's the superior, well, it's not the superior version, it's the superior soundtrack. It really is. Like, this music if you have a chance, I even put it on my favorite video game soundtracks list. If you have a chance, please do yourself a favor and look up the music in this game. It is like phenomenal. It is a masterpiece. It is one of the best soundtracks you'll ever hear in a video game. And I do not say that lightly. It is like one of the greatest things you'll ever hear at all. Like, it is that good. And the same thing can be said for the other games that we mentioned too, but this game, oh my god. Like, it is phenomenal. It is so good. The music, I cannot stress how good it is in this game. So definitely look that up if you have the chance. Um, and some people, I will say this, and I do want to move on, but I will say that some people may also know that this game did have a little bit of cut content. Dragon Universe in this game, as you know, has 11 characters that you can play as, but originally, did you know? Now, it's a good chance that you might have already known, but some people may not. Originally, all of the 38 playable characters, I think it's 40 or however many it is, all of the characters in this game were originally going to have a story mode. And that includes characters like the Cybermen, the Cell Jr., Cooler, Bardock, Majin Buu, Android 17, 18, Frieza, all of those guys, all the characters, even all the minor characters, they were all going to have Dragon Universes. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like, imagine how big this game would have been had that idea came into fruition. Like, that would have been crazy had that happened, but unfortunately, it never came to fruition, and I don't even know if we're ever going to see an idea like that float into a Dragon Ball Z game ever again, so, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, next up is Dragon Ball Z Sagas. This is actually what a lot of people consider to be the worst Dragon Ball Z game ever, and I can definitely understand where they're coming from. I haven't played this game in years, but I have beaten it. And this game is one of the only games that's cooperative, and it's also the only last gen, or sixth generation rather, Dragon Ball Z game that's also on the original Xbox. All the other ones are either PS2 exclusive, or they're also on GameCube, or in some cases, with Budokai 1 and 3, they were ported to the PS3 and the Xbox 360. But the original Xbox only has this game. And this game is basically like, I almost said open world. It's not even near an open world, but it's basically, it's like a linear single player / cooperative experience where you play through up until the Cell Saga. And you do certain battles. You don't do every battle, which is a shame, because you only have so many battles. But you have battles like you do certain battles. Like the first one is obviously against Raditz. There's one where you fight like monsters on like the planet Yardrat, which is really weird. It doesn't make sense. And then Frieza, you don't even fight him and all his forms, which is weird. I think the same thing even happens with Cell too, which is really strange. But other than that, I do want to play this game again because I don't remember hating this game. I remember having issues with it, but I don't remember dreading it like a lot of other people did. I just remember it being like too simple and just not all that fleshed out, if you know what I mean. But maybe at some point I'll try to play it again and see if I can make it far. But other than that, that's really all I had to say about it. Only a few more games left. Next up is actually the start of the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series with the original Budokai Tenkaichi. And you can tell this game is the original because it's the system is very like simple. Like, you can really cheat the AI and just make it like so unbelievably easy. There are so many things you can do to cheat the game and make it so like easy. Even I would say even on like the harder difficulties, although I'm not too sure about that one. But the biggest addition to this game is it has more characters, and instead of the 2D or 3D environment, well, maybe 2D, but instead of like the side to side battles, it's from a third person perspective with the player character being over here and the enemy being way over here, and it's on a whole like open world map, which is really cool. I say open world, it's more like a open environment for the stages, so that's really cool. And all the music from this game is taken from the original Budokai games, um, which is really cool. But it's also kind of lazy too because it's literally just copying and pasting. But at the time, I didn't really have a problem with it because the first time I played this game, I didn't even play all the Budokai games. I just know that um, this game was definitely a lot different from those. But as I got older, I did realize that this did reuse a lot of music from those games. But considering how good those soundtracks were, especially Budokai 3, I definitely didn't have as much of a problem with it as, like, say, other people might have. So, other than that, that's really all I have to say about it. It's not the greatest game in the world, but if you're a fan of Dragon Ball and you want to check out the Budokai Tenkaichi series, I mean, it's definitely worth a try. You know, it has the story mode, you know, it has specific battles, so maybe you'll enjoy it. I think it even has what if scenarios too, so I mean, maybe you'll like it. But other than that, it's pretty much all I have to say. So, yeah. Man, my throat is getting like really agitated from all this talking. Thankfully, I only have, I think it's 3 games left. The next one is the sequel, which is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. This game is obviously a huge improvement over the original Budokai Tenkaichi. This actually has a better story mode. But saying that, the story mode in this game is a bit ridiculous. Excuse me. And the reason why I say that is because there's so many battles to be covered, it's not even funny. Like, Raditz alone, not only does he have a whole what if scenario, but in his main story alone, he's got like 4 different battles that you fight him in. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The first one with Piccolo versus him, which is how you unlock the what if scenario. The second one being when he battles Goku on Kame House, and then the third one obviously being when he dies. And then the fourth one, instead of Goku training with King Kai with like other stuff, one of the parts of his training is actually him battling Raditz, which is weird. So yeah, they did a lot with the battles in this game, which, you know, is a good thing, but my god, it's one of the reasons why I just never beat this game, is because there are just so many battles. It just gets tiring all of a sudden. So I'm kind of taking a break from it. Or I have taken a break from it, but at some point I'm definitely going to beat this game because I do love it, and the music is also really good too. Not as good as Budokai 3, but still really good music. Um but saying that, I just wish that the story mode was a little bit more simple and not too crazy. But I do like what they did with it nonetheless. And then here is the case here, or the disc here, and then the manual. I'm not going to pull that out, but yeah, and it also has more characters. Some of the characters, there's exclusive characters that are on the Wii version. They would eventually make their way into Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Speaking of which, I'll go ahead and grab that game and show you guys that. Budokai Tenkaichi 3. I have not played this game in years, and that's because the copy I have of this game does not work, unfortunately. And I tried looking online. Hope my battery's getting low. I'm really hoping that did not affect the recording. But the copy I have of this game does not work, and I tried looking online to see what this game is selling for, and it's like over $100. So it probably won't be too anytime soon whenever I decide to get a copy of it. But yeah, if you look at the copy I have, the last time I tried playing it, I could barely get it to work. And it's not in the greatest condition, as you can probably tell. It does not have, it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it's got some scratches on it, so yeah, it's not exactly in the best condition. So that's unfortunate because it means that I can't really play the games, so yeah, that sucks. But at some point I might try to get my hands on a new copy and try to play it again, because I do remember enjoying this game. But I will say the story mode was a downgrade because, you know, Tenkaichi 2 had a lot more fights, but this game had way less fights. And it didn't even cover some of the important battles that happened, so I thought it was a little bit disappointing. There are some battles that are good, but for the most part, I kind of prefer Tenkaichi 2's because that story mode did have a lot more battles, and some of them were the important battles. Even if they weren't exactly portrayed correctly, at least it showed them. So yeah, but anyways, that's Tenkaichi 2 and 3. So now that we have that, we just got one more game to show here. I'm going to try to make this quick because my battery is literally getting low. Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. This is the last PS2 game in the collection. It's basically, despite the name change, it's basically Budokai 4, but it has more characters and it's a different system compared to Budokai 3. Well, it's actually the same system, but it's revamped so it doesn't have all the same, like, features. Like, it doesn't have Dragon Rush, it doesn't have beam struggles. I don't think it has clashes either, which is really weird, but it does have new characters like Super Janemba, which weirdly he has his firstborn's voice in this game, which is really odd. And then there's also Pycon, who's playable, Super Android 17, which is playable. And yeah, same thing with Budokai Tenkaichi 3. My copy of this game doesn't work for some reason, even though if we take a look at it, if I can get this thing open. Give me 1 second. There we go. When we take a look at it, it doesn't look like it's in the worst condition, but for some reason it just doesn't work, which is weird. So I don't know why that is, but I guess I just did something to it without knowing. I don't really know, but yeah, it doesn't work, so I'm gonna have to look for a new copy of this game too. So, but yeah, with that being said, that is every single PS2 game that I own. So let me straighten things out here, and then we're gonna wrap up the video. We're gonna do the outro. So give me 1 second. Let me put my phone down. Just hang in with me, guys. Just trying to straighten everything out. So that way I can get this thing looking tidy. Maybe it can make for a good thumbnail in the video. If not, I can try to get another one. But nevertheless, let's try it out. All right, there we go. Oh, please don't fall. Thank you. All right. There we go. That's beautiful. All right. Now, let me move this. And yeah, so that is my entire PS2 game collection. I'll have to do a recount as to how many games I have, but that is all of my games. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It took a long time to record. We're at an hour, 33 minutes, and 35 seconds. So I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if possible. And yeah, that is pretty much it. I will see you guys in the next video, which will most likely be probably my PS3 game collection. We'll have to see. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but it might be my PS3 game collection. If not, we'll do something else. But either way, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.